Well, one of the most popular New Year's resolutions is to get control of our finances. Financial expert Ellie says that's one resolution that can be done in just 60 minutes a week.
There are things you can do to get your body in shape. Now there's a workout for your money, too. Ellie Kay, America's family financial expert, says that for just an hour a week, you can be financially stronger and smarter. And not for a quick fix, but for the long haul. With Ellie's 60-minute money workout, you can revolutionize your finances, be debt-free, and reach your financial goals.
Please welcome back to the 700 Club financial expert Ellie Kay. It's great to have you back.
Thank you. Great to be with you again.
You know, people write books about all of this. You write from experience because at one point you were $40,000 in debt.
Right.
That was daunting.
Well, it was pretty incredible. When I married my husband, I say I got a 3-for-1 deal. I got a world's greatest fighter pilot, but I also married, I also got 2 stepdaughters and, of course, the result of a divorce. And part of that was $40,000 in credit card debt.
Wow.
So it was really difficult. And yet we decided, we purposed to get out of debt. We decided we would follow God's plan for our finances. And on one military man's income, within 2.5 years, we were completely debt-free, and we've remained debt-free ever since.
You know, I think that's the wonderful thing, because when it's a big number like that, people say it's kind of like dieting. If you're extremely overweight,
Right.
You think, I have so far to go, I'm never going to get there, so you almost defeat yourself by not starting. Talk about the 60-minute money workout. What is that?
Well, basically, this is a purposeful, dedicated hour a week to get your finances into shape. I mean, if we want to take care of our physical health, we know that we have to work out at least 3 times a week. 4 or 5 times a week is even better. And yet we don't pay that much attention to our finances. And yet, of course, as you know, that's one of the #1 reasons cited in divorce. So if we can get our finances into shape and we can dedicate that 1 hour a week in a very strategic, structured hour, then we can make a lot of progress in revolutionizing our finances.
And, you know, we're talking here about the start of a brand new year, and you and I were talking during that commercial break about the fact that money is the #1 issue in strife in marriages today. So what a great opportunity. You really encourage in the book for couples to sit down and do this 60-minute workout together. Do most couples willingly do that?
Well, you know, here's the beauty of that. If you take your financial strife that you may have during the week, you know, a wife comes home in a brand new outfit, you're already in debt. It's like, where did you get that? Well, it was on sale, and the arguing ensues.
Right.
But if you take all of these financial topics, you shelve them for your money night, for your 1 hour of a money night, then it cuts down strife in the marriage. And, of course, then when you're sitting down, you know you only have an hour. It's going to start, it's going to end, it's going to be very structured, and you're very motivated as a result to make progress during that 1 hour.
You break the process of this down into the components that we would be familiar with in a physical workout. You start with the warm-up. What is that?
Well, basically, it's 5 minutes of the workout, and this is where you start with something positive. You also decide on the topic that you're going to cover. For example, if you're going to work on budgeting, or you're going to work on your taxes, or maybe college funding, you decide on that in the warm-up.
Wow. You say we should devote time to strength training as well. That we know is an important thing physically. What do you mean by that when we're talking about finances?
Well, when we're talking about strength training, you're looking at your topic and you're seeing right offhand the obstacles. So let's say that you're talking about a budget. In the past, you've said, okay, one of the obstacles is that we set it, but we don't stick to it, or we can't track the money. So you look at what could possibly get in the way, and you talk about ways that you can overcome that.
Do you write you have a lot of places in the book where you ask people to write this down for yourself. Do you suggest doing that along the way in the whole process so that it's on paper for both of you, or individually?
Exactly, that's right. And that would basically be in our next section, is where we're going to start to write all these things down so that we can track what we're talking about and we can find progress. And we can go back to that. You can refer to what you wrote down the previous week.
The cardio burn.
Yes. Now, the cardio burn is the hardest part. You know, in any other workout, this is the really hard part. So this is where we get
the
down.
part that hurts.
Exactly.
Right?
You know, this is
feel it.
This is where we get down to the nitty-gritty. But let me give you a real specific example. Right now, taxes are in the news because people are getting their W-9s, and they're going to be filing taxes pretty soon. So let's say, for example, you're going to pick that as your topic. During the cardio burn, This is where you get really practical. You go to a free tax solution like taxact.com where you can prepare an e-file all right there. And then also the program walks you through all the new tax laws, the deductions, the credits, etc. So you do this during this particular part of the workout, and you're getting things done and you're making progress. But it's important that you bring to the table everything you need, whether you're working on a budget with a budgeting tool online or a tax with a tax tool. Whatever you have to bring it to this part of the workout so you can get the work done.
So it's almost like going to an academic or educational class where you come with everything you need to make the time count. And then you say that the fourth step is to measure your financial achievement or your accomplishment in all of this.
Right. This is where you take your heart rate. Now, if you're the previous 20 minutes, you're getting into the work, you're making progress. If you want to, you can carry over some of that work in the heart rate section so that you can really complete what you're working on. For example, if you're working on a budget in this next section, that's where you get really practical too. At this time of the year, there's several things I recommend that you do for your finances. For one thing, you should reevaluate your automobile policy. So this is where you would look at the different costs, call your provider, say, I think I'm paying too much. We mentioned taxes earlier. This is the part 2 where you look for free solutions for that element of it, and where you would actually save money in different areas.
Well, and if you're working as a couple, certainly if you're an individual, all of this falls on your plate. But if you're a couple, you can assign some of this. Each person's going to do something, so you're both actively involved, and then you bring it back the next week as you look at it. I love the fact that there is the boundary of the hour, but and you say stop at the end of the 60 minutes. Carry over whatever isn't done until the next week so that you maintain that safe window.
Exactly. And the reason for that is that sometimes when couples get together or families, they argue about finances for 3 hours, they make no progress, and who wants to do that?
Yes.
So if you know it's going to end, then you think, wow, there is an end to this.
Yes.
And so it makes you more likely to come back the next week and say, I'm going to do it again.
Ellie, if you had to just name a couple, what are the biggest issues that keep people from being where they need to be with regard to having a handle on their finances?
Well, actually, I think that one of the biggest issues is that they're not following God's biblical principles. So, for example, the tithe. I think that's very important. People will say, I can't afford to tithe. Bob and I were there. And it was recommended that we file for bankruptcy. So we said we couldn't afford not to tithe. Because when you don't tithe, you push God out of your finances. And do you really want to do that if you're having financial trouble? So I think that's one of the main problems today. Is that people are not tithing.
It's a little counterintuitive, isn't it? Everything in us says, I better hang on to this. It's kind of like body fat, when you're starving yourself. But God promises that when we're faithful to do it His way, that He'll open the windows of heaven and open doors of opportunity. And is some of it just that we don't take the bull by the horns, that it's just easier to not deal with all of this?
Right, Terry. That was the second thing. The first thing is they're not tithing. The second area is that they're not following through.
Yes.
And so that's one of the reasons that I wrote the 60-minute money workout, because it's a very practical way. It gives you a lot of background about the topic you're talking about. And couples are finding all across the nation and around the world that they can really take the bull by the horns and make a difference.
It's called the 60-minute money workout. It's so practical. Ellie, thank you for being with us. Ellie Kay is the author. If you want to check out her book, you can find it in bookstores nationwide. So get a hold of it, the 60-minute money workout. Thanks.